Hey there, lady. My name is Molly Conley, and I'm devoted to helping women reinvent their love lives, whether that's after divorce, dating on and off the apps, or in their committed relationship. Why? Because I've been there. I'm a former college athlete who filed for divorce 3 years into marriage, swam in the online dating pool into my late 30s, and now I am married to the man of my spreadsheet dreams who I met 4 months before the world shut down. As a dating and relationship coach, I help my clients shift the focus from being obsessed with finding Mr. Right to shifting to herself as Miss Right Now. We build a foundation filled with clarity, connection, and confidence, knowing she is worth waiting for. Each week on the podcast, I'll bring you love life insights and savvy guests, where you will receive the courage to release programmed limiting beliefs. Discover patterns and behaviors restricting you from finding and attracting quality men, and ways to choose yourself first so you can build a foundation for a healthy relationship with yourself and a partner. Why, hello there, lady. I have a special episode for you. Today, I have a former client joining me for a coaching session, and she brings a relevant topic: the waiting season. Even if you're not in this season, I bet you've been there. You know what it's like. You're trying so hard to find someone, to be patient without turning angry or bitter, thinking that there's no good men left in the world. If you haven't been there, you are so lucky because it really sucks. Until you can make the shifts this woman has done, some before and during our call. This is an open conversation you're going to be listening to. One where most of the names are removed as requested by the former client. There's going to be some gaps where those names were removed, or maybe some, words smushed together. And there's going to also be some pauses where we both are making space for the conversation that we are having. Now, let's get into this episode. Technically, when you wrote in, you had selected 2 things that you wanted to talk about. What is the one you want to work on right now?
Probably that second one, just like overall patience in the waiting season, basically, which is like, I feel like a theme right now for my life and just like in general for single people is just like that waiting process. So that essentially.
Okay. So what is making the waiting season so difficult?
Um, Mostly it's because I feel like I'm like that one the single person of the friend group, the single person in the family. And of course holidays are coming up and you have random family members make like random comments like why are you single or like what, and it's like I don't know, that's just how my life is unraveling, I guess. I don't even remember what you just asked, but yeah.
That's how it works with us. It's totally fine. I mean, all of that. And since we have talked about stuff like this before, it makes a lot of sense because we've talked about all those areas separately. And when you mention the holiday season, it's almost as if they all just like combined, and
Mhm.
it compounds when you have to see numerous family members, as well as when you're surrounded by some really good people and friends and they're all taken. So it makes it a different type of reality than someone else that might have single friends that they constantly hang out with, or family members that don't seem to ask that question because something else is in place, whether that's boundaries, whether that is, having the knowledge that having a partner isn't the end all of life. Like, having a partner is an addition, just like having a career that you love is different than having a career just to have a career. So filling those empty voids when people ask those questions sometimes is, can be difficult to communicate through, as well as, stand up to people when they ask those questions. Because sometimes I can only imagine how you have felt in the past
Yeah. I just think of one such I had a cousin, I rarely ever see her. So she was talking to me. I saw her in person a couple weeks ago and she's like, "So what's new in your life?" Like knowing that she was wanting me to say like, because she asks me every time I see her, but she's like, "What's new in your life?" And I'm like, "Well, nothing crazy." She's like, "You know, guy?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Oh, that's too bad." I'm like, "It's not too bad though." Like I I don't know. It's just like I don't know if it's just like a theme in my family. Not to like I love my family, but like it's just like if you don't have someone, it's like, "Oh, that's too bad." And it's like ask me about my career, ask me literally like there's like I don't know, maybe I react like that because I'm super sensitive to that because I know that that's something I eventually want.
Hmm.
But when it's like someone saying like, "Oh, that's too bad." It's like what? Like then I just get in this like rage mindset of like, is it too bad? And then I like spiral into this. But I will say I know how to like get myself out of that now. Whereas like ask me that a year ago, I don't know if my answer would be the same. Or even 2, 3 years ago. But no, it's like I hate when it's matched with, oh, that sucks. It's like, does it suck? Like I don't know. So that's also why I chose this theme because it's like I don't like you do have a choice and you don't. Like I can choose to date and be open to it, or I could choose to like say, oh, I'm never gonna find anyone. Like that's not my path for me. Like be kind of like stubborn about it, which I have worn that hat many times. So now I'm actually truly believe in my heart, not 100% every day, but like I deep down, I'm like, yes, there is someone out there for me. It's just going to take time. But man, that walk is hard, especially when I will say not in a negative way, but being single sometimes can be empowering, but it can also be equally isolating
Yeah.
in a way because actually, you sent out something this week, or maybe it was last week. Like your daily things you send and you have like the quote at
Hmm.
the top.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it said um something about like when you're in a relationship, your partner is like I can't
You're gonna have
remember.
to look it up. You
I
you have
know,
to
but
look it up because I don't know what one it is. There's so many.
it was literally like your partner is the most important relationship in your life. Like they come first, basically. And I read that and was like, that is so beautiful. But then it also like stung because I'm like, damn, like I feel that. Like with my friends and like even my sister who's in a relationship. Like it's so, which is a good thing. It's good because I can tell all my friends and family members who are in relationships, they put their person first. But then it's like, hey, like don't forget about me over here. Like I still want to hang out with you guys. Like it's like I'm always like that third wheel or like, but also so it made me feel like two different things because I'm like, oh, like I'll understand that someday. But right now it's kind of just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, end rant.
Okay. Well, because we've worked together before, I'm going to like share some things that we have maybe talked about. First of all, your value of connection is part of the reason why this is really difficult for you
Oh
because
yeah.
you want to connect with those people so badly that when they share that opinion of, oh, that's too bad, does it feel like you let them down?
Oh, 100%. Like even with my parents too. Like
Yeah.
they're never gonna say outwardly like, "Oh, you should be with someone." But and we've talked about this too. I have a family group chat. My mom will send, she just did this. I'm like, is she being like serious? And my sister replies back, she's like, "Who's that for?" She's like, "Not sure yet." And we're like, so it's like that invisible guilt. Like my mom, yes, she would be the best grandma ever. My dad would be the best grandpa, but it's like stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know if, I don't think she's intentionally doing that, but also as her daughter, I'm like, it makes me want to like speed up, like, oh my God, like I need to be looking when really I'm like fully embracing my singleness right now and trying
Yeah.
to be patient. So it's like I definitely have small little triggers like that. I'm not gonna lie, almost on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Just because it's hard when your desire is so innate. It's just in me. Like I just know that I want to spend my life with someone. So when like conversations like that happen via text, in person, it's hard to remain, it's okay. Like, so that's why patience is so, well, it's important, but it's also a struggle at the same time.
Yeah. So you unpacked a lot there, and I'm just taking it all in because you have really good self-awareness. You've worked on that really well. And you are so strong in your acceptance of where you are and like how unique you are as an individual, the things that you do in your career, the types of friends you have, the things that make you laugh, and your talents. Like you really do have stuff that sometimes people, wish for as well, that they, I mean, maybe push to the side too. And you value that connection so much, and you value what these people say so much, that when they push their values onto you, when they push their beliefs onto you, they're projecting. So when they say, oh, that's too bad, they're thinking of themselves. They're not thinking of you. When your mom is sending baby toys, she's not thinking of you. She's thinking of her. And we do this all as individuals, and we never really pay attention, which means those people don't have the type of self-awareness that you do, which means that you already have a leg up on how you can communicate back to them and saying, it's not too bad because I'm not rushing into anything. I want a love of a lifetime, and I'm not going to settle for some douchebag just because I'm wanting to make you happy or my mom happy or whatnot. And I'm not going to hurry up and get pregnant when I'm not ready to, or when I want to make sure that I have this in my career or my finances or this type of house. Like, you are doing all the things correct for you. Other people are pushing their beliefs and their values onto you so much on a consistent basis. And since we've worked together so long, I will say, I'm curious what boundaries you have set in place so that the stuff will start to fall away of them saying these things to you. And maybe, I know that one person is going to be way more difficult, obviously, to communicate this with, but like, you know.
Ooh, that's a hard question. I will say I've gotten better at vocalizing. Either it depends if the situation is appropriate where it's happening. And
Mm.
it's not like I have a target on my back, like they're always like coming for me type thing. It's more like it just comes up in casual conversations. So like, for example, like with my mom, we had an in-person conversation, and we were actually talking about that situation of my cousin saying that comment, and I was like, that really like stung. And my mom was like, well, it's your fault. Like you're like taking it too personally. Like that's on you. And I was like, and boom, I relapsed right there in my head. I was like, oh my God, something's wrong with me, blah, 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 all these negative beliefs. And then as I sat there, I said, I can't believe you actually just said that to me. Like, that's not my fault. Like, I'm allowed to feel what I want to feel based on a comment. Like I don't know, it was so weird, and I kind of expressed how I felt, and like my mom actually like apologized. She was like, "I'm sorry. Like I did not mean to offend you by that." Like, and we talked about it, and I kind of was like upset, so I kind of just we changed the subject. But to be told like it was my fault, and like I'm allowing that, like I'm digging my own hole. I was just kind of like I was just kind of talking about how this was like affecting me, and like why is it sad that I don't have a person like I don't know, it was weird, and I immediately like I don't know if relapse is the right word, but in that
Triggered,
moment
maybe?
I just like boom, floodgates. Not I didn't cry, but just like I was just so
All the
off my
feels.
rocker, yes, because it was my fault, and I was just like okay.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and kind of clean up what your mom said, in a sense, is like, would have been a better way to handle that if your mom would have said, is like, your feelings are valid, right?
I would have loved to hear that, yeah.
Just to be honest and acknowledge that everyone has different feelings for those situations, and just step in and be like, God, if my cousin would have said that to me when I was your age and I was single, God, I can only imagine what that would have felt like. A lot of people don't know how to say that, which sucks. And
Yeah.
sometimes coming from parents too, they just want it's either like wanting to protect or wanting to teach and wanting, have you learn a lesson that they might have had, but I don't know if that was the direction she was going. But
Just,
I'm glad
yeah,
that you, for one, like the fact that you said this to your mom, like, and you did it in a way that wasn't blunt and in her face, and you did it in such a way that was composed from what you just said to me is remarkable. Like, honestly, you haven't done that from my knowledge when we've worked on this before. So
yeah.
like
Well,
a
I
mini
knew,
celebration.
yeah. Well, I knew if I
Yay.
were to like blow up on her, that wouldn't. I honestly, to like anyone, if I were to like blow up and have this like reaction, like emotional reaction. But no, I was very calm. And of course, my sister, who's literally a therapist, was like, she was also there. It was just three of us. And my sister was like, well, yeah, I mean, like your feelings are definitely valid. Like, I get that. Like, that was all I needed to hear. And like, if my mom would have said that, like, that would have meant everything. Like, literally, that would have meant everything. I see it's also hard because connection, you're right, is important to me. So, like, I people that I love and care about, their thoughts and feelings matter, which I probably give them more weight than I should, which I am learning. But yeah.
There was a question that one time you had mentioned about putting some things on a pedestal. And I was going to challenge you about it. And you really did just bring it up in a sense of how you have other people's opinions and their beliefs, like because of how much you connect with them or how much they're important to you, their beliefs and their values and stuff really fully affect you. So it's almost as if you're putting not a relationship, but their approval on a pedestal. How does that feel?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, yeah, and I also like, yes, to what you just said, but I also care. See, this is no, it's not messed up. It's how I feel. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so like I obviously care about my parents and like I want them to be happy. And I literally know that like me being married with kids would make them so happy. So, but that's also like related to connection at the end of the day too. It's like I care about them. I want to connect with them. I want to provide them this. But then why am I putting that on the pedestal? Like I need to put myself on the pedestal. Like that's that. See, the thing is though, is like I actually like believe that. And I've the amount of alone time I have spent these past months is like kind of crazy. Like I'm not used to doing that. But I feel like the more alone time I spend, the more I'm like, okay, I'm able to like reflect and be like, okay, I used to put being married on a pedestal. I used to put like just being in a relationship on a pedestal. And I'm like, why am I doing that? Because for some reason I have this belief that if you're in a relationship, you've like made it or you're like the perfect woman or like, and it's like that's not right now. What belongs on my pedestal is me and my career that I love and am so blessed to have literally every day. And that's hard because sometimes I fall off my pedestal, and I gotta climb back up. And sometimes it takes me a day, sometimes it takes me a week, sometimes it takes me 15 minutes of just breathing.
Yeah.
um, but yeah.
No, and that makes sense too. Like we all fall off our own pedestal. But if
Oh
your
yeah.
mom was a crazy cat lady and she's like, I don't want kids. I don't want you to be married. I want 15,000 cats. I want them all at my house every weekend. Would you get a 15,000 cats to bring over in your Jeep? Because that would make your mom happy. Like if that was a belief that she had for a long, long time that she wanted cats, would you just be like, I got to find all the cats and I got to bring them all over and I got to give them all different names and she'll knit them sweaters. It'll be fantastic. Like I just wanted to show something ridiculous because it's kind of like we don't see it unless we have something crazy like that on the outside as like as an example or until we fully start to move ourselves, which is what you're doing. And not remove, but you're taking time and making space for yourself to not even just be on a pedestal, but like to create your vision for your life. Like right now, career is it. Career for you, you are so talented in the area that you work and you love the people that you work with. You love the projects you do.
Hmm.
Three things right there. if there's any lady listening to this right now that has those three things, also email me, because I don't know anybody like that. Okay. It takes a lot of work to get to that. Okay. And things in your life are going to change and constantly be a flow. And if it's staying the same, then nothing's changing and nothing's growing. And you are in a process of growing by doing that reflection and figuring out where on the pedestal, or what's going on the pedestal. And it's nice to hear that you are putting you so much more on there. And no matter what you're doing with, being aware and then taking these steps, not of just acceptance, but to communicate what you want, like around certain topics or whatnot, is actually helping you get through this process of waiting faster. Because you're not waiting, technically. You're building, you're creating your life.
I like that. That's good.
And the guy that's going to, once again, we've discussed this too. There is no dude that can be in your world right now that is going to be at your level. We've discussed that.
Yes.
Okay. So you're not waiting for shit, because there's nothing around you right now that's like, that is worth your time, that is worth your space, that is worth to get on your pedestal. He could be moving into your world. He could be working on himself. That'd be awesome. Because you definitely need a dude that can work on himself, that can do the self-development work, because otherwise it's not going to work, because you are so into self-development, like hands down. It has to be.
I know, and that's crazy because I used to always view that as like, oh, that's weird, like something is wrong with me. And it's like, no, like this is literally who I am, and I'm going to choose to be proud of that. I don't know. There's been so many times this past year where I've like thought of you and things we've talked about, and I'm like, I remember her saying that. Oh my God, this applies right now. Like literally right now. But I did also like how you just said, like I am actually like allowing space for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And Patney, I mean, probably like 2 years ago would be like, okay, Tuesday night, like what am I doing? Who am I hanging out with? Whatever. And now I'm like, I go home, I read my book, or I edit photos, or I cook a new recipe. And I'm like on cloud nine. Like it's great. I am truly allowing space for myself. Like this past weekend, you know what? I felt weird doing this because I have done this before, but never on a Friday night. I went to a movie by myself on a Friday night.
That's
And I'm like,
cool.
it was amazing. I know it's like a small thing, but it felt empowering. Like the theater was full. I'm literally in the back corner next to this random lady. It was great. Went to the farmer's market the next morning by myself. Like, and it's like some people would view that as, oh my gosh, that's sad. Like, don't you have anyone to go with? It's like I have myself to go with. Like, and to me, like that's enough. Like, I feel like most people don't spend enough time like by themselves. Like,
1000%.
which I see, I almost like regretted saying that just now, but not really. Cause like when you're in a relationship and when I find someone that I want to be in a relationship with, I'm obviously going to want to spend a lot of time with that person, but like being single allows me to spend all this alone time. And I like when I'm alone with myself doing things, I'm healing at the same time. I'm learning more about myself. I'm like exploring things I would have never done. Like even if I was with another person, even if it was like my sister, like this isn't a bad thing and she would agree with me. I'm just more adventurous than her. I want to go to see that stand. I want to go see that road over there. Let's go look at this, where she's not like that. It probably drives her crazy. But when I'm by myself, I can do those things and I can explore. And yeah, I just like last weekend was amazing. I had a little bit of anxiety about it because I planned it out, but I did all of it. And when I was doing it, zero anxiousness at all. It was more like, I am amazing. I am awesome driving in my car. Just like, but then of course, like it can't, I'm like, this is too good to be true. Like there's got to be something. Ended up seeing my aunt that night, and which love her as well. But she was like, she's like, what'd you do this morning? I'm like, oh, I went to the farmer's market. She's like, oh, who'd you go with? I'm like, oh, I went by myself. And she was like, seriously? Like,
a lot of people aren't comfortable doing things alone, and it's
yeah.
extremely empowering to do them by yourself. And I want you to understand too, like I do not go to movies. Brad goes by himself all the time.
I love that.
Yeah. Because that's another thing to know too. Like in a relationship, you're going to have things that are going to like glue you together. You might have someone that's like, I hate farmers markets. And you're going to be like, I hate that you don't want to go with me to a farmer's market. But you're not going to be like, fine, and I'll stay home. You've done it before by yourself. And you're like, cool, I'm going to go. I'll be back in 2 hours. And that is even so much more growth to have in a relationship. Some people are so cliquey and can't like unglue that they become two names that go into one, and they can't do stuff alone. They can't have girls' night. They can't have guy time. Like it's crazy. So the fact that you can do that right now, you're past the waiting game, just to be honest. You're already doing these things. You're taking yourself out on a date. You're giving yourself the priority of doing things you want to do when you want to do them. No one's holding you back but you, and you're not holding yourself back. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I don't know like what like clicked inside of my brain or my soul or whatever, but I just don't even think twice. Like if I want to go do something, I'm going to go do it. Like I don't, of course I'll be like text message and be like, "Hey, do you want to come with me?" or like whatever, and sometimes I won't even reach out. I will literally just go do it by myself. Like the farmers market, I didn't ask one person to go with me because I wanted to experience it by myself. Like I don't, so no, it's definitely, I don't know. It's obviously hard to be patient sometimes, but I really like how you just reframed that. I'm not waiting. I'm building.
Creating, building.
Yeah, like that. Like when you said that, I was like, whoa, I love that. Like instead of use now, if it ever crosses my mind, I'm just going to replace the word waiting with building because that's it's more positive that way.
Yeah, you're creating the
Yeah.
life that you want. Because like think of it this too, like all the things that you're doing, you could still like you could take yourself out to dinner this weekend, right? And you could enjoy it. If you move out of your city ever, away from friends and family, you're going to have to do that on your own. You're going to have to do that. And a lot of people will just feel uncomfortable and not be able to handle it. You told me when you traveled for work that you've done things by yourself and you thought they were so exhilarating. Like, what was it this one time you were like on a scooter going through Pittsburgh or something, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I was in Toronto, like
Oh,
downtown Toronto, Canada, on a scooter, and I visited like the Hockey Hall of Fame by myself and like all these stores and shops, and I'm like, I'm gonna move here. Not actually, but it was just the experience of being able to do that by yourself out of the country was just like, okay, like, oh, I just fully took in that moment, which was, I don't know, I was just on a scooter by myself and I'm just like, I am a single boss woman. Like,
here's another thing too is like when you do things like that, they really do make good date stories because you get to share people like this is the type of person I am. And then you're going to really see how they're going to react. And if they're like, oh, I would never do that, you're like, okay, check please, because this guy is an adventurous. Like he can't even handle the idea of going out and riding a scooter by himself. Does he ride a bike? Like anything by himself? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It'll be a good test. So
So, okay, you will find this very interesting, I think. So, what you just said, I have said before, like in conversations with my sister, and other people, and they say to me, which I'm being completely honest, I think of you each time because I'm like, that is not what Molly has told me. Okay, so like like I'll be like, which I haven't really dated in a while, but anyway, like I would go on a random date and I'd be like, he said this, like I really didn't like that, and then my sister would be like, you realize you have to like let some things slide, right? Like you are never gonna find your Mr. Perfect, and I'm always like, wait, I'm not looking for a perfect man. Like I also feel kind of misunderstood sometimes because I'm not looking for this like literally perfect person. I'm obviously looking for someone who's imperfect but aligns with me. I feel like there's a big difference there.
that
Like,
you need to write that down. I'm not looking for perfect. I'm looking for aligned, period. And just
yeah.
leave it.
Oh, like, and it's like, oh my God. Like, I just look at my sister and I'm just like, duh. Like, I don't, and it's like, why are you saying that? I don't know. It's so weird because I have this belief, this new belief now instilled in me just from like different TikTokers I follow, and I listen to every single one of your podcasts. And it's just like when you consume that positive information, it kind of becomes like a belief and a lifestyle, I guess. So
Yes.
like when I hear that from family members, it's just hard sometimes, but thank goodness I have like a strong foundation now. Um, but just to hear like you realize you're gonna have to like let stuff slide. It's like ew. Like, okay, I understand that to a point, like if you're in the relationship, but like at first, if like something is off or like a non-negotiable, like I don't, yeah.
I agree with you. There's a lot of women that can do that. But I think it's different for every single person. And so for me, if whatever you mentioned that something wasn't right in the date, just go with your gut. You know yourself better than anyone else. Like, let
Yeah.
go.
Or like I'm trying to think, see, this was my one like non-negotiable, and actually both my mom and my sister told me to like, you can't think like that, or like, and all I said was, I want a man that's passionate. Like whether that's his career or he has something on the side that he really loves and is passionate about. And I explained, I was like, I think I need that in a partner because I am a passionate individual and I'm drawn to that. And I don't know if like I grew up with my dad being a very passionate individual, like career wise too. So I think that trickled down to me. Thank you, Dad. But like I was just like, yeah, I think I need to date a man that has passion in him. He has a fire in his belly for something. I think that's literally a non-negotiable because I have dated the exact opposite. Like,
Yep.
those guys that like coast through life, which
Yes. You
I'm
don't
not
have to
saying
explain any further. Yes.
like, and I just like, I don't know, like, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but if they were to date me, it would be a bad thing because I am a driven person, goals, how are we going to be better type thing. And I just like would love that is truly like one thing that I've really struggled with in the dating world. Although the last person I dated had that, but there were just other things. So it was like, I know it's out there. I know that it's out there. And when I had literally my mom and my sister being like, that was when they're like, you kind of need to let that slide. Like, you can't expect a perfect human. I'm like, I can expect a passionate human at least. And it's like, they could literally, their passion could be brewing beer on the weekends. Like, they love it. They research about it. They want to create a little side thing, or they just, maybe it's just a hobby. Like, I would love that because it means that they have fire in them because I have fire in me and I want that connection to be fiery. That was so cheesy. But I feel like you know what I mean. Like,
I do know what you mean. And plus, here's the problem too. So you, once again, you're a high achiever, you're ambitious, you're a former athlete. Like, you go after what you want. You went after your career. All the things that make you you is passion. It is connection. So for someone to tell you to let that go is basically telling you to let you go.
yes. Oh my
Like,
God.
fuck that. Like, no, do not
And
do that.
okay, but Molly, I feel like yes to everything you just said, but that is like why originally I had this belief of like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? Because I just feel like, okay, this is gonna sound really bad, but okay, I'll start with the positive. I have one friend, her name is Libby. She actually participated in a little live thing you did one time. She is we are the same when it comes to passion driven. We are always looking for things to be involved with. She is someone that I
Mm.
have found. Well, she's also married to my cousin, thank God, but she's also my best friend. We're the same. And I'm like, dude, you are me, I am you. We are both just like ambitious, hardworking people. And it literally, she was texting me last week and she's like, I need something outside Tyler, who is her husband, my first cousin and also BFF. Um, she's like, I need something outside of him. Like, I need to continue to grow. And I'm like, I love this. I literally love you. Like, because if she can find someone, I can find someone. We're so,
Totally.
we're just so similar. So their relationship gives me hope too. And just to know that it's okay to be who I am, and like comments like that from family members, they can think that, but that almost sounds like their own limiting belief that they're trying to put
Yes.
onto
Yes.
me because
Yes.
I've always viewed myself as like, okay, everyone says this about themselves, but like truly since I was born and could actually form thoughts, I always knew I was like
Different.
different crazy color. Look at my glasses, they're hot pink. Like crazy, bright, colorful, extroverted. Tell me your deepest, darkest trauma. Let's talk about it. Like, but not in a way like I just want to know people. Like I want to connect with people and I want to experience the most out of life in every single way possible. And I know that's crazy for a lot of people, but that's truly a non-negotiable when it comes to finding a partner because I will be so bored if I don't have a partner that's just passionate about something. I hope
Right.
it's his career, but if it's not, that's obviously fine. If he's a passionate individual, I think we can make it work. And I just refuse to be told that that is like some crazy, impossible thing because I've been told that by family and by guys that I've dated before. So,
Okay, do we need to go back through the part that like you just did a full circle? We just talked about the pedestal thing about like, why do I put them on a pedestal? Now you just did that right there, the pushing of the limiting beliefs and their values onto you. Number one. So huge full circle time. Second, you know that's wrong. You grew up with your dad. And I heard the napkin story.
oh yeah.
So to be honest, every time they say that and be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Mom married dad. Plain and simple. Dad's got passion. I look up to dad for certain qualities, and I think I know that I can find a quality that is very similar to that. And I like that. And you have been the NCAA wrestling. Let's just take that as an example. They might not have been any man that you liked there, right? But they were freaking passionate about what they were doing. Athletes, just we're going to do that as an example, are very passionate about what they do. They exist. We see them on TV. You just might accidentally have, and this isn't a bad thing, you have grown a lot that maybe the circle you're in, you have outgrown and you need more Libbies in your life.
Oh my God, that almost made me want to like tear up, but yes.
But in a sense of just being like, you could still keep these people in your circle and still have time with them. But
Mhm.
as their opinions and their values and their beliefs that are keep pushing on you, like you can still slowly push that away and accept like, yeah, that's you, but that's not me. So this is what I'm going after. And you can't tell me any different because I'm an adult and I'm allowed to do what I want.
Yeah. See, I even have like dreams of me like, well, we've talked about this. Like randomly moving to like Kansas City or like somewhere new and just like literally creating a life that's just me.
Yeah.
Um, I know I could do something like that. It's obviously something I think about sometimes, but just the thought of knowing I could do it is empowering for me. And just yeah, I mean my friend Libby, I could talk about her all day long. Just knowing that there are other people out there
Yeah.
that have the same brain as me. I I don't know. As far as like go-getter, hell yes mentality, sky's the limit. Like she's always looking for new opportunities, new positions to just develop her career. And I'm like, girl, same. Like me too. But
Yeah.
yeah,
One
yeah,
last thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say it's hard sometimes, but hopefully, worth it because it's like this is instilled in me. It's not something I can just change. Like
No.
tomorrow, I'm just gonna decide not to do this. It's just like each day, my fire gets like brighter and stronger and bigger. So yeah, and I understand that might be scary for like some guys too, which is why I don't
That's why
know.
you don't date people that, have no goals and just want to go through life as is. That's boring anyways, right? The people that
Yeah,
just want to
I
check in and check out, that's not you. There's people that like the check-in, comfort level, all that with a partner. That's great. That's not you. I almost want to challenge you to do something the next 12 months. And I say 12 because, weather and stuff, but it would be amazing to challenge you to take a trip to a different city all by yourself. I know that you've done things by yourself, but like ones that you wanted to explore, I know we've discussed it before, but maybe even just one where it's like, oh, I have to go to a whole new time zone. I have to fly. Maybe it's maybe it's going to Portland and just being like, okay, that is a very outgoing city and very bright and colorful, tons of foods, different things to do, and nature that could be something that's just going to like shake you and be like, oh my gosh, maybe I need to travel more, or maybe I need to find more people that are like me at home.
Yeah. Sorry, I would see it's been on my bucket list to do like a solo trip where I have to like literally get on an airplane, like make it big and like because I know I would love it so much. Like so yeah, that is on my list of to-dos.
Okay, good. Well, how are you feeling right now after when we started talking about the patience in the waiting season?
Honestly, really good. I feel like I came full circle with all of my thoughts.
Good.
Yeah, I will say like something that you really helped me in the past with too is just like self-awareness and realizing like this is who you are and that's okay. Like this is okay. Like it's literally who you are. Live your life the way you want to live. Like no one is like you and that's okay. And I'm not like them and that's also okay. But yeah, no, I'm feeling good after this conversation. Feeling
That's
light.
awesome. That's great. And this is just another reason why the man that's gonna want to be with you better be freaking amazing. He's got a lot to live up to. We're just gonna say that right now. And if he ever listens to this episode, that would be fantastic.
I'm ready. Come in whenever.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm so happy we got to work through this for you.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad that I could chat with you tonight.
I loved having her talk through her situation, one where she's realizing she's building the life she wants versus waiting for the man to arrive and choose her. If you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. If you loved this episode, please leave a written review wherever you get your podcasts. And last but not least, if you're wanting to get coached on the podcast, you can. All you need to do is join my email list. They are the only ones who will have access to this opportunity for the rest of the year. So, how do you do that? Well, you can take my 16-question quiz that walks you through different dating and relationship scenarios to find out what's sabotaging your love life. Or you can sign up for Lady Love Lessons, which are those morning emails sent Monday through Friday that she mentioned in this exact episode. You can find all the links in the show notes. Oh, and make sure you follow or subscribe to the podcast, as sometimes I release a second episode on Thursdays. All right, lady, have a wonderful day, and I will chat again with you soon.